Gentlemen, boys, girls, however you identify out there, welcome to episode 10 of the Hoops and Hangouts podcast. You are now tuned in with Coop. I'm here with my co-host Mike, and today's a very special day because we got one of my really good brothers, one of my really good friends, Jean Poyo. Known him for a minute.
Yes,
And
sir.
he's just ready to just spread, his little sports fandom and just talk hoop a little bit. We got a lot going on right now. So Gene, for most of you that don't know, I've known Gene for a while, dating back. We talked about camp in the past, dating back to camp, but at this point, it's a brotherhood, and it's all love. And he always pulls through whenever I need him. So I'm just glad. I just want to kick it to you, Gene, real quick, and just give us a little brief introduction of who you are, who your teams are, who your sports fandom of, and just give us a little background on yourself, my boy.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. So first and foremost, I just want to thank Coop and Mike for having me on the show. And for me, being born and raised in Brooklyn, a Queens boy now. Queens get the money. But with sports, sports is life. Now with my teams, all New York teams. So right now with ball is the Nets. I know they struggling right now, but hey, we gonna get somewhere. So a little bit about me, I'm a youth developer. My life's passion, working with young people, so just pushing it forward. So now also sports is the avenue that we all could pursue, and it's just right there. So look,
Yep, we all hoopers
yeah,
in our own head. We all got the best jump shot. We all got a little something to it. So he's just like he said, hoop is what brings people together. Sports is what brings people together, and so is this platform. So
no
we just
doubt.
gonna get started a little early on. Right now, it's a new segment. We coming back. It's been a while since we've been on here. It's a new segment. Right now, the first segment is called "What's on Your Mind." This is just gonna be a segment where we just talking about just what's. It's a lot going on. We had the Stanley Cup playoffs. We had NBA. We have NFL draft and off season OTAs that just happened. We have a lot going on. So, Mike, I just want to just start off like just what's on your mind currently right now in the sports world right now. Talk to me. We're gonna start with you,
Well,
Mike. We're
one
gonna
thing
start
that's
with
on my
you.
mind is yeah. The first thing's on my mind is obviously the NBA Finals. I'm a huge Pacer hater. I don't hide it.
Yup.
I don't shy from it. I want all the smoke with every Pacers fan player. I'm a huge Pacer hater. And for them to get to a game 7, I am extremely nervous because I do not want to see Indiana win the championship. So that's been on my mind ever since my sadly my Knicks got knocked out. So
I got you,
just
bro.
thinking
I
about
feel
this could
you.
have been us.
Can I
Yeah,
jump in real quick?
yeah. Go
So
ahead.
so before the Nets moved to Brooklyn, so I was originally a Knicks fan. So I had jumped off and then joined with Brooklyn. But I still a Knicks supporter. But I feel you, Mike, with them being the Pacers. It should be us up 3-2.
I can't say I kind of relate to
It
you
should be us.
because I understand, bro. Like I kind of relate to you, just for me, just thinking back to my Heat fandom. Just thinking back to those years that the Celtics have beat us, bro. Like every year the Celtics beat us, I'm like, yo, I do not want to see Jason Tatum. I don't want to see them win. Like even last year when they won, they beat us in the first round, right? I've just been a Boston Celtic hater, so I think we all have that one team based on like our own fandom that we just don't really fuck with, And I guess Indiana is like that for you. It's like that for me with Boston too. So I feel that.
It's 100% for me because as a Knicks fan, we're supposed to hate Boston. All right, that's supposed to be our number one rival. But we haven't never been really competitive against Boston for a long time. Except recently in this playoffs where we won a series. But if you look in the past 25 plus years, we wasn't beating Boston in anything. So Indiana, it just hits home for me more because of this. It was with Melo back in 2012. Then we get there last year and they knock us out in the second round. Granted, the whole team was injured. Then everybody's healthy. There's no excuses. And I'm like, this is us. This is a chance. Everybody's here now. All the players healthy. There's no reason, right? Then I see a bounce ball hit the back of the rim, bounce all the way up to the moon, and come back and go into the hoop. And then I'm like, damn. And then game 2, we was in most of the game, and then we lose game 2.
Don't forget this, bro.
Damn.
Don't forget this, bro, because Tyrese Haliburton clearly wanted the smoke.
And yes, he hit me with the Reggie, and then I have to hear Reggie talk all game, and he's not saying the Pacers. He's saying we. He kept saying we. And he kept forgetting that it's not about we. You're a commentator. You got to not be biased. But of course he's biased because it's a we thing, right? So it's just everything about the Pacers, from Roy Hibbert blocking Melo to now Haliburton doing the choke symbol. It's just, I'm the biggest Pacer hater. I can't stand Indiana. They will forever be my number one most hated team in my heart. And I know I'm not supposed to live with hate in my heart, and I'm trying. Lord knows I'm trying, but I just can't. I can't let it go.
With that being said,
so that's
bro,
what's on my mind.
I'm gonna go and I'm gonna kick it to you, Gene. Just what's just generally on your mind in the sports world right now. I'm gonna just go. I know this is probably gonna hurt you a little bit, Mike, but I honestly, what's on my mind right now is I think this is probably one of the best NBA finals that we had, and probably the last 10 years. What are we in 2025? The last really good NBA finals that we really had was 2016. I feel like, which also won Game 7. So I just find it, that's really good because we had last year, we had Boston dominate the Dallas Mavericks the year before. Unfortunately, my team got dominated by Denver, and then we also had Golden State the year before. So I just think this is the first time that we actually had two teams in the NBA Finals that are balanced and both can compete and both are nice. Both got some players. There is a superstar in SGA this year on the team, but it's not like he's setting up his team too far from Indiana. I saw an interesting stat. Well, I was just looking at stats of this series, right, and just team comparisons, and I didn't even realize, like, if you look at the team comparisons between both teams, Indiana and OKC, they are tied in a lot of these, like damn near tied in a lot of these categories, like points. OKC's averaging 110 points per game. Indiana's averaging 109. OKC's averaging 42.2 rebounds per game. Indiana's averaging 42.7 rebounds per game. So it's really two balanced teams. And this is the first time that we actually got to get to see teams of this caliber playing together. Teams of this deep playing together. So like that's just what's on my mind. Can I make one
pushback point on that? Besides game 1 of Haliburton hitting the buzzer beater, from 2 to 6, not a single game has been remotely kind of close.
Oh, I disagree. We're watching this.
We're watching a 7-game series, but game 2, OKC won that convincingly. Game 3, the Pacers won that convincingly. Game 4, now OKC was down, but they came back in the 4th and they won that convincingly, right? Game 5, OKC won that convincingly, and then now Game 6, Pacers won that convincingly. Now it's been a back and forth series, and then yes, your numbers suggest that they're kind of evenly matched teams, but in terms of the qualities of games when the games happen, right? I don't think, other than game 1, that each game has been remotely as close. Now we're seeing two competitive teams scrapping and fighting, but I think game 7 should be this is finally going to be the single-digit close game that we've been waiting for, right? Because honestly, if game 1 would have been a blowout also, if OKC didn't take the reins off the horse and just, let it go. So I think these teams are two most scrappy teams, but in terms of from start to finish, where it's like halftime down by 3 or down by 2, we have not had a single one of these games where That's true. Like it's going back and forth.
Yeah,
but it's still entertaining finals. Don't get me wrong. We have a game 7. I think this is very entertaining. As much as I hate to say it, I think it's very entertaining.
Oh, no, I agree with what Mike is saying in terms of that last point. So, but I would also say, have I watched each game like full through? So nah, but I've catched snippets in terms of like, okay, this is entertaining. But what I would say in terms of like, it seems like, now I don't have the numbers to back this up. I am just that in terms of like any lead, there seems like there's just a lot more comebacks that are happening more frequently. Like 10 point, 20 point, 15 point with like 7 minutes to go. No lead is safe. So even if you go up big, man, you got to deliver that knockout punch.
Yeah, you're not convinced with a 20-point lead in first half. I think honestly, the 20-point lead in the first half, I feel like sometimes could be like the worst thing for a team, right? Because I feel like you you reach this 20-point lead in the first half, and now your team has peaked, and it gives the other team time to really game plan and really come back and steal momentum. And I feel like second half momentum is harder to come back from as opposed to like first half momentum. You could kind of gain that first half momentum, right? In every series, we've seen it. But then by like the third, even fourth quarter, teams are still able to come back. Sorry, Mike, I had to bring it up. Bringing up having 20-point.
No, I agree. I agree. We had a good amount, and it is what it is.
Yeah, bro.
How
you feeling though? You good?
Of course.
All right, man. So with that being said,
when we get to the Pacers and our prediction, Mike, I would give a look. You're not gonna like my take. I will leave it there.
Mike is hurting right now. All right. So you bringing up Game 7. So the NBA Finals Game 7. As of last night, Indiana just tied the series to tie the series 3-3. So Game 7 is on Sunday at 8 p.m. So I just wanted to know what happened.
No, I could go first.
I bet. What are your predictions? Who wins Game 7, G?
So yeah, like I said, that Indiana's gonna win Game 7 on the road. For some reason, it just seemed like the script is set up for them. Like Haliburton came back. It made it seem that I'm not gonna say it made it seem that he was hurt. Now I believe that he was legitimately hurt, but him playing that game just gave him a spark, and I saw that he was leading the team in scoring. I think he had 25, and just like the plays that they were getting, they were forcing a lot of turnovers. I'm like, okay, they playing with that momentum. Now I think it will be a close game, but I think it's gonna be in terms of like how they won Game 1, just hitting shot after shot, and just OKC get into these moments where they seem like they don't know how to play ball. They just standing there just watching SCA go to work. I'm like, what's going on? Come on, we got to move the ball. But the Pacers be doing that as well. But for me, I'm just going off a feeling. And if I were to bet, I would bet on the Pacers winning Game 7. It just seemed like a magical story ride for them. But it could be the same thing for OKC. But the Pacers they're gonna close it out. And I think Haliburton will get MVP.
You think so?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that for discussion later.
Okay.
I'm gonna say that for discussion later. Mike, who you got in Game 7? I know who you got.
Okay.
Do I even have to ask?
I got OKC in Game 7. The first quarter, in my honest opinion, will. I hate this. Is like it's way too early to say that, but I honestly believe the first quarter will decide who wins the NBA championship, because to be on the road, Game 7, everybody's hands is gonna be sweaty, balls, the shot's not gonna go in. It's not gonna be a high scoring game, which would favor OKC. But I also don't think OKC is gonna hit enough shots also. So I do think this is gonna be the closest game that we finally had. I would just say, with all on the line and it's the talent and just the home crowd, I'm picking OKC because I believe in Shea as the MVP. You're the MVP. You got to back this up. I believe J-Dub is a great second option, and I just believe that Caruso and Hartenstein are going to make key plays, and then someone off the bench like Wiggins, or maybe even someone even shocking like Isaiah Joe will hit like a clutch shot when it's needed. And I think OKC was going to take this game. I think it's going to be a very entertaining final game. And that's just my opinion. Shea will win Finals MVP.
Okay. I didn't expect.
But if the Pacers somehow win Finals MVP, right? To go off what Jean said with Haliburton win Finals MVP, if the Pacers win Finals MVP, I think this will be the first time ever. I don't know in history. Maybe I might be wrong. I have to really do my research. Where a bench player gets Finals MVP, and that would be TJ McConnell. Because TJ McConnell has been the most clutchest. But anytime that we're down by 10, TJ hits 4 mid-range jump shots in a row. TJ, he gets like a steal when he's not supposed to get. If they somehow win this game, I will give Finals MVP to TJ McConnell, because they would not be remotely anywhere where they would be without TJ McConnell, and he has been the best player. I think Tyler Haliburton been the 4th best player on their team this final series. I think TJ McConnell should win it. I wouldn't even give it to Siakam. I would give it to TJ McConnell.
I want to say, Mike, I agree with you, man. I would probably give it to either TJ McConnell or Obi Toppin. I think right now, I believe Obi Toppin is the reason why they won Game 3. And I think Game 3 was won because of Benedict Mathurin, because of the bench. Ultimately, I was going to choose OKC because I had them from the start. I had them in 6. But now that circumstances have changed, obviously, I think it's more of a toss-up kind of thing right now. But I'm leaning more towards OKC, mostly because they got SGA, they got home court advantage, and they have the league MVP. I think, as Mike said, I think Jalen Williams is going to be a critical point. I think he needs to show up and play well as a number 2 in order for OKC to win. I also think Jean brought up a really good point where sometimes it just seems like OKC's offense is just so like stagnant and sluggish, where they kind of just get in these moments where they're just only give it to SGA and I'm gonna stand back and let SGA work. I think Rick Carlisle did a good job of making adjustments this past game in Game 6 on making sure that he's doubling SGA and forcing the other players to shoot. So that might be the recipe. That's the only thing that's keeping me from fully being 100% on OKC is Rick Carlisle and the fact that he makes good adjustments throughout the series. I mean, he has so far, right?
And for my prediction, I'm leading on in terms of like the 2 coaches. Like, this might be a wild take, but I don't think SGA gonna come out to perform in Game 7. Game 7 is a different beast. Oh man, my thinking is also a big piece on a coach too, because Rick Carlisle definitely have that experience to get his guys ready. But the players got to go out and do it. But
trust me, I know firsthand, man.
I know OKC got the crowd, but I don't. All right, I'm gonna say I don't have faith in them closing the deal because I felt that they should have closed the deal already, but they didn't close it. Man, you can't play with your fool. Nah, you left the door open. And
if I was OKC, I would set up a lineup because I think OKC needs a little bit more shooting. And I would at some point run a lineup where if they want to keep Chet Holmgren in the game, which I personally think they should bench Chet Holmgren if it gets to certain points, because I think him and Miles Turner are a wash sometimes.
Yeah, they think they're gods.
Showing up I think they're both a wash. And I was just like Isaiah Hartenstein more on for the rebounds. I would do a lineup where it's Shea, Caruso, Dort, J-Dub as the 4, and then have Hartenstein. So at least you have a little bit more floor spacing, more shooting, and stretches out the court. Like, I just think for Chet Holmgren's jump shot takes too long for him to even shoot it. He gets blocked every time. Every time he takes that jump shot for 3,
I want to say I disagree. Like, I hear you when we started talking about it, like a little bit a few days ago. Just Chet and like, what is he? He's averaging 11.3 points per game. Not great. 1 block per game. I thought he was averaging more for some reason. I don't know why. But I just think like his defensive impact and his ability to switch 1 through 5, I think you have to keep him on the court. You know what I'm saying? Like, Hartenstein is great, but I feel like he's limited.
I think Hartenstein can do the same thing. And Chet's just light on the butt. He is light on the butt. Like, he's getting pushed around by Neesmith. He's getting put. I seen Nembhard drop his shoulder into him, and he gets backed up to the out of bounds line and makes a layup.
Still early in his career. He's still early.
He's frail.
I get it. I get it's early in his career, but damn, I don't see any muscle that's gonna grow on that boy.
Bro, I'll be worried about players. Go ahead.
No, keep going.
I'll be worried about like players of like that type of profile, like player profile that Chet has, like him and like Porzingis. KD kind of has that same kind of build, but like him and Porzingis, because they're always hurt. You know what I'm saying? Like, Chet already had 2 major injuries in his young NBA career too. So like that's also something to think about. If we're gonna talk about like Chet's future, I feel like he does need to grow offensively, and there are some liabilities there, but
Chet's body is like my new goal.
Your new goal?
Like, my new goal? Yeah, like he was tall and like lanky and stuff like that, but Manu Bol was never known as the best player on the team, but he was a great defender and get blocks. But he's just so thin. He needs some mass. I don't know how he's gonna get it. I don't think he can get it, to be quite honest. And it's just, I'm seeing Neesmith push him around. I'm seeing Nembhard push him around.
I just don't understand because like I thought, because Game 5, I thought Chet had a really good game, right? And then I thought last night's game was kind of off game, like you said. Neesmith and Nemhart like being able to get separation off him, like push him off his spot because he's frail, you know. But I thought Game 5 was telling. I thought Game 5 was his best game that he played. He didn't score a lot, but just his defensive impact. I thought he got a lot of blocks.
He
I thought
played good defense.
I thought he impacted a lot of shots at the rim that really, you know.
They need him Game 7. He better come to play, or it's gonna be a long night.
My last point about OKC is the one problem I watched. Because I watched all their games. Is they're so young. When you watch, sometimes when, like, for example, Chet Holmgren missed an easy like alley-oop layup instead of the easy one. He's practically looking at the rim, and he missed it. Instead of him getting back on defense, he did put his head down. And the Pacers already, they're a fast team. So as soon as they get that rebound, they're running down the court. If you miss it, you got to sprint your butt down. I know it's like human emotion to be like, oh, God, I missed a gimme. But you can't have that. You got to be like, all right, move a pass and run down the court and try to get a block or something. Because
that's why I picked. No, I was going to say
that's what you're saying with Gene. I hear what you're saying.
That's why I picked the Pacers, because they don't have those. They have some of those moments where they do that, but they don't give those easy ones like the ones that the OKC be giving. It's like, come on, what we doing?
I hear you. I
agree.
That brings up another conversation. We kind of touched upon it. Tyrese Haliburton, right? There's been a lot of talk about him this NBA Finals. There's been a lot of superstar talk, whether he's a superstar or not. I don't know if you guys seen that conversation or debate. And there's also been a lot of criticism. I know Mike probably has some things to say about this, but do we think Tyrese Haliburton's criticism or all the talk about him being a superstar or not, or hate, is it warranted? Like, what are your views on Tyrese Haliburton?
Nah, I would say a superstar. Nah, that's OD. Like how I see superstars, like are people paying their money to come see you? Are you packing out the arenas? And it's not just home games, just talking about road games as well. Now on the road, are they coming to see Haliburton? They probably seeing the Indiana Pacers, but not Haliburton. But no, so is he a superstar? No. Now, all the criticism that he's getting, is it warranted? I will also say no. But what I would say, this playoffs, whatever criticism he's been receiving, or people underrating his game, nah, he definitely elevated his game. And then he's been hitting time. I saw a stat that he was like 5 for 5 on like go ahead field goals, like with the last minute or 2 minutes in the game, like 5 for 5, man, batting 100%. It's crazy. And like, you know, when he had a ball in his hand, it's going in, and we all know he's going right. He's allergic to going left, but it's nothing but net. It's not like it's hitting the rim. But man, but what I would say, if they do win the championship, like I predict him to, so he's gonna get gonna be a lot of prison in the moment, like, you know, a reference to Skip Bayless, what he loves saying. So they're gonna say he's a superstar, but he not there yet. But what I would say, getting that ring would definitely be steps in the right direction. And then when we get to the ring culture talk, okay.
Yep. All right, Mike, you want me to go or you got it? But I'm gonna go. All right. So just where I stand right now is, overall, just the whole conversation about the face of the NBA and the whole conversation. Well, the face of the NBA, right? That's what I wanted to get. And just Tyrese Haliburton being a superstar. I think a lot of these conversations are a little bit too early to be having, right? Because I feel like, tell me not, like back in the day when we were like growing up watching like LeBron, D Wade, Kobe, a lot of like our era that we grew up on, were there conversations about, oh, LeBron's the face of the NBA or Kobe's the face of the NBA?
Nah, never.
That's what I'm saying. So I just feel like it's just kind of like these guys that were crowning this. We're crowning them these titles when they're mad young, right? Anthony Edwards has yet to even hit his prime yet. Tyrese Haliburton really hasn't even hit his prime yet, because these are dudes that are still pretty much developing and getting better. They're not that much older. So I think it's just too soon to be having it, and we don't think about it while they're going through it. It's really like after the conversation, after they accomplish what they accomplished, then we're like, oh, he deserves to be in the conversation for the best. But I just think right now these conversations for for the people or the players that we're looking at it for, it's just too early. We got to let them have their time and build their legacy, and we don't allow for people to just breathe and allow for conversations and things to just happen.
But even with that, face of NBA, what does that even mean? I don't know what that means.
Like, are we saying? I don't even know. I couldn't even tell you. Like, what do they mean by that? Like, so. But honestly, Tyrese Haliburton, I think, is a little premeditated. I will say, after like game 2 or game 3, I kind of looked at his stats and I was like, what does this kind of remind me of? If I wanted to like entertain the conversation, but I think it's MVP Steve Nash, bro. Tyrese Haliburton, that's what his game reminds me of. The MVP Steve Nash, right? And I think his MVP year, he averaged about 17 points, like 10 assists, you know. So like, I think if we did compare him to that would be the comparison that we would have if I was to even entertain the conversation. But I'm not there yet with him. He still has to prove it. And he's still mad young. You got to let players breathe and let their career breathe out and play out. You feel me?
All right.
I agree. So, and for my opinion, when we hear about like the face of a league, it's, in my opinion, it's more of a American sports construct due to the fact that we are starting to see the change in the guard. So people who grew up in our era, the players we watched, the Kevin Durants, the LeBron, the Steph Curry now, they're all about to retire soon. And then, of course, we grew up watching Shaq, Kobe, Dwayne Wade. Like, those are bona fide stars. Like, people go up and see them. So I think the NBA is now at a point where they're kind of nervous of, like, who is the next, I guess, in my personal opinion, the next American best player. Because we know Jokic, we know Giannis, we know Shea now. We know all these people are the best players in the league. Luka Doncic, but they're all, again, international. So America's looking for who's our face of the league, because obviously NBA is most popular in America, and we don't have an American best player at this particular moment. So we're trying to know people like Jason Tatum or Anthony Edwards or Tyrese Haliburton or any of those guys quickly, because, you know, we want something to stand on. You know, I think Team USA will still win games. I still think that, well, maybe they might not. We'll see how it is in 4 or 5 years when it comes to gold medals and stuff like that. But we're still trying to hold on to this because it's our sport. You know, what you got?
I got you. Nah, I just wanted to. That just brought up something in my head, like a memory. What do y'all think about the changes to the All-Star game? I didn't have it on the agenda, but what do y'all think about the changes?
Man, they just got to get rid of it.
Yeah. Well, I think at this point, I agree with
copy you. It. Well, they saw the success with hockey, and hockey had the 4 nations. So it was like Team USA versus Team Canada versus like Team Sweden, and it was like another nation, like maybe like Finland or something, because that's where a majority of hockey's played. And because the games were so competitive and stuff like that, and the ratings were through the roof, the NBA wants to copy that because obviously no one's really watching the All-Star game because they don't take it serious. But if we're all going to do a team USA versus over like team international, I don't know if there's going to be 4 teams or just 2 teams, whatever, how they do it. I'm picking the international team. I think the international team would if they actually played serious too, I think the international team would smoke Team USA. It's not even a competition. You tell me you have a lineup of Jokic, Giannis, Shea, and Luka Doncic right there. That's 4 right there off the bat. And then I don't know who you want to throw on the bench for international wise, but you could throw even like side players like a Lou Dort or Şengün. Like that international team is so much Sabonis. That's so much ahead of Team USA. It's not even a competition, and that's why the NBA didn't want to get to this point, because they knew they didn't want us to get embarrassed. But in reality, we would get embarrassed.
It's just
serious, we would get embarrassed.
It's just a different time now. Like we just have to really talk about like what is the motivation of them changing the game. It's like, how can we get more people to watch? How can we make more money? Like the times have changed. The players don't want to get hurt. So it's figuring out a way if we can incorporate. Now I don't know how this works. Like if we just make it smaller instead of it 5-on-5. And I know we only touch on it later in terms of like with the 1-on-1. Like if they do like a type of 1-on-1, or if you do 3-on-3, but do something where you completely change it, and or like like bringing back like what they did where the players pick their own players, but like you make the pool smaller. and like they pick who they want to play with, and then they just have little small competitions. But just like a big game, I haven't watched the All-Star game in like years. Like
it's been trash.
It been fell off, and then
I was gonna say I agree with you. They should just scrap it. I mean, at this point, I just think a lot of the NBA lost a lot of this flair growing up. Even just like the players wanted to do the dunk contest. Like now everybody wants to do 3-point competition because all right, it's easy to do a 3-point competition. But no, players used to want to do the dunk contest. Players who used to want to be part of the All-Star game. No, even just the aesthetics of it all used to just be more like engulfing. Like we used to see the teams wear their home jerseys and their away jerseys. Even watching the NBA Finals, the fact that we had to put virtual finals logos on the thing and don't want to put the real decal for reasons is mind blowing because you want to throw
NBA has
sponsorship.
I think the NBA
it's about sponsorship in my
that's all it is. It's all about making money right now, and I feel like we've gotten so lazy, and so many aspects of everything that we grew up watching has like changed, right? Just the essence of everything that we've been watching, right? Just like even watching, like I know they tried to change like the NBA Finals to doing like the whole pregame stuff, like the intros, player intros and national anthem, and they tried to put the logo on the court. Every time the players run over, it disappears and stuff like that. Like they're trying to do it, like, but I just feel like it's gotten so into like the business side of the NBA where we kind of
that should have been at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that should have been there from the beginning. That logo I don't want to hear any excuses why we can't put a logo on the court when they can change the whole court for an in-season tournament that even some of the players don't take serious. They changed the whole court, they put the whole logo, they changed everything for the in-season tournament. And it's not just it's for like the 70 finals. They do it for every home court. Every home court changes for the in-season tournament, right? And then they change it right back to the regular court. So
but you see how they do the two small market teams?
Yo.
And I was gonna say, you see how they do the two small market teams because they like the people don't care. Well, you showed that, man. I could care less about putting in the time to like market our game. Like you show that you don't care about the small market teams. Like you want the big market teams, but they should have went overtime, try to get more exposure for these teams. Granted, it's not as I guess not a lot of interesting players, quote unquote, but there's not you want to try and reach the non-casual basketball players that's gonna watch. But
even though it's not a lot of superstars, you got to do everything you can and to promote the series and promote the brand of the NBA Finals. Like, what do you think about when the NBA Finals? You think about Super Bowl, right? You think about Super Bowl. You think about the World Series. You think this is your thing, right? The Super Bowl, they have the Super Bowl logo on the field, right? MLB, they're gonna have World Series on the side, spray painted on the field. Why is it so hard to just get a small NBA Finals thing in the logo? It's just like I just feel like the NBA is making so many big rapid changes so fast to just, I guess, compensate for like what you said, how the NBA is changing and the players are kind of a little bit more demanding, even though they're making more money, but they're demanding of more things, like, right? For the All-Star game in particular, right? I've seen like, I forgot who it was, but some players said there's not enough incentive. I'm like what more? I think you're
talking about the Morris twins when it was on First Take. Paid them like $1 million.
I'm like, yo, there's not enough incentive. I'm like, yo, these players are getting paid more than they ever gotten paid. They're getting more time off. They're trying to do less back-to-backs now. I understand the whole injury thing, but it's like that's never been an issue in the past, right? We're not asking you to go 100%. We're just asking for like your 75%, maybe in the fourth quarter or when it gets a little too lopsided in the game. We're not asking for too much, man. Like I said, just
if you want to make the Hall of Fame,
you want to make the Hall of Fame. I was just saying, you're right.
You gotta be an all-star. There's many people who's never been an All-NBA or what. Manu Ginobili, I don't think ever been an All-NBA, but Manu Ginobili has like 6 All-Star appearances and like 3 like man of the year awards. Like you need those recognitions. You don't need an incentive to play the game. The incentive is I'm an All-Star. I'm recognized as one of the top 15 players right now or in the nation or in the NBA, and like that's my obligation.
I'll ask this question.
We're not telling you.
I asked this question.
Yeah, I'm saying we're not telling you.
If the Knicks were in the finals, No, you good. If the Knicks were in the final, you think they're not gonna have the finals logo on Madison Square Garden floor?
No, that would have been on the court. That would have 100% been on the court. But and the NBA is fumbling this because the fact that now we have the second apron is going to be even more smaller market teams making the finals. It's going to even be more smaller markets. So it's going to be like Minnesota versus Utah. Granted, maybe 7 years from now, who knows? But it's going to be smaller market teams because now you can't load up in a big market and have 3 stars. We see it now. It's not successful. It's not a successful strategy of building a team. And so the NBA feels like, oh no, maybe this is now kind of what we want to do, and we want to build it back up. But we're going to see teams like a Utah or Indiana or Milwaukee or something else be these great teams that make the finals now.
Mm-hmm. But it's also the refs. Where they get these refs from? Like, what are they looking at?
Nah, facts, bro. Sometimes I don't want to get too hard on the refs right now, but I feel like sometimes certain games, even in that OKC Minnesota series, I feel like certain games the refs were like kind of favoring OKC side. I feel like
Minnesota, they laid down. They like, yo, we playing 6-on-5, so we go.
Mm-hmm. I'm just like. Yep, it'll just be like Jaylen Brown, like driving it. Not Jaylen Brown, I keep saying that. Jalen Williams driving to the lane, just throw his body. They calling it. I'm like, yo, that's all it takes. Just throw your body,
and that's why I said Game 7, the first quarter is going to dictate the whole game because if the refs call 2-3 fouls on the Pacers, they're cooked. If the Pacers are in the bonus by the first quarter, they're cooked.
I think Carlisle. Carlisle gonna get a tech. He gonna wild him up like, yo, y'all cheating, bro. Yo, chill out. Chill out.
Yeah, Carlisle know what to expect.
He gonna use his timeouts.
You have to.
I think
you have to get attacked.
OKC coach, I think he gonna look like deer in headlights. I'm sorry, my boy. Don't take offense, my brother, but you just haven't been there.
No,
that's a fact.
I agree.
There's levels to this.
There's levels. He's gonna have to figure this out.
Yup, 100%. All right, we gonna change the topics a little bit. You know, we spend a lot of time on the finals and certain other things, but let's go. There's another big topic right now in NBA. I guess airs right now is the Kevin Durant trade talks. Kevin Durant is expected to be traded out of Phoenix this summer. They're saying his preferred teams are Houston, Miami Heat, very zone, and the San Antonio Spurs. They also considered the Knicks and Minnesota have been in conversations apparently for Kevin Durant. So just my thoughts are, what do y'all think? What do y'all think he ends up? Where y'all want him to end up? What are y'all thoughts? We'll start with you, Mike.
Sure. Where I will want Kevin Durant to end off in, I mean,
does he end up in New York? Do you want to trade him to New York?
It will all depend on what we give up. Like if it was a one-on-one like Cat for like Kevin Durant and maybe like a role player, I would do it. But if it's like Cat and like Mikal Bridges, and then they still want like some draft picks, then I'm not doing that. I'm not trading a 30-year-old for a 37-year-old. So I wouldn't do that personally. But where the best spot for him would be Houston, but Houston, as what I'm hearing, is Houston's not willing to part way with the draft picks, and what Phoenix want is their draft picks back from Houston. So they want like some of their first round draft picks that they traded. They kind of want it back, and they're not going to get those first round draft picks back. So I think Houston's playing the long game. That his price is going to drop because Phoenix has no options. They have no choice but to trade him, or they're going to run it back, and he's not going to be happy to run it back. So, I would say Houston's his best choice. San Antonio doesn't make sense to me. The Heat would be nice. It's just, what is really the Heat going to give up? Because like I said, the Suns want players. They don't want like just draft picks. They want players too. So are you parting a Bam? Are you parting a Tyler Hero? I don't know. I mean, I would keep Bam, but are you going to give up Tyler Hero and some other people? I don't know. So
that's disrespectful. Gene, what you got, bro? Who you think?
So now with KD, man, it's just insane what his career has come to. But he gonna get traded. Like,
does he go back to Brooklyn? Brooklyn got some cap space. They got some.
Nah, we don't want him. He not coming back. Nah, he ain't coming back. But where I want him to go So I'm gonna say where I want him to go and where I think he's gonna go. So where I want him to go, I want him to go to Minnesota. So they would trade like Randall. They're gonna trade DiVincenzo. They're gonna trade Naz Reid. You know, they're gonna cut the team. But I think he got like a 1 year window. They gonna make a run. Would they get to the finals? Probably not. But I think it would be good for Anthony Edwards. Like, you know, get your running mate, you get that 1-2. Nah, it would be very exciting. Now my thing is just a money play. Nah, they're gonna bring money to Minnesota. That's where I would want him to go. Nah, because AE really look up to that man. And then I think they in talks, and that's one of his trade destinations to go to Minnesota. Now where I think he's gonna go, I think Phoenix gonna send him to somewhere where they could get the best package. And where they could get the best package, now it's a sleeper team. It's either San Antonio. Now I don't think he'd go to Miami. Mike and Coop, I don't think he's going to Miami. I don't think Pat Riley want to deal with another guy because he's going to be upset in Miami. They're going to gut the team. They ain't going to have nobody, and they're going to go nowhere. But it's just always so much he could do because you got to compete with New York, Boston, or not Boston, but when they come back, Indiana. So, like, why go to Miami? So it's either I think the sleeper team is San Antonio, but the one we not thinking, I think he would go to then what's the other team?
Houston.
Yeah, Houston. I think they're gonna trade him to Houston.
Okay. 1 second, y'all.
All right.
Oh gosh.
Because they got Miami. Come on, Cooper. Would you want him in Miami? Come on.
Oh,
I don't.
Exactly. That makes no sense.
Man, it makes a lot of sense.
They didn't want to pay Jimmy Butler. They didn't want to pay Jimmy Butler. Now you're gonna pay KD?
We got the culture.
Kevin Durant?
We got the culture.
True.
I think we got the assets. I think we got players to get. Assets are a little shaky, but we have some things there. We have the culture. We have the coach. We have the system. He just got to ball out. His favorite thing to do is just hoop, right? We're going to provide. We have our leader in Eric Spoelstra. We have our captain in Bam Adebayo. He has Olympic experience with Bam, right? So just plugging him in. I understand y'all said we just got rid of Jimmy, but we really wanted to keep Jimmy. We didn't want to give up Jimmy. We gave up Jimmy because he wanted out, right? He wanted out. But if there is ever the one thing that I will say the Heat need is scoring. We're good at everything else. We're great at defense. We're good at like just mucking it up, rebounding, but we just need scoring. And that one guy that can come to save the day in Miami and come to South Beach is Kevin Durant.
But you may have to give a Bam though.
We don't gotta give up.
You gotta give up Bam.
We probably don't have to give up. I think Khalil Ware.
You would have
Khalil Ware. I've already seen rumors saying that Phoenix wants Andrew Wiggins. He would want to be included in that package, right?
Oh, dang!
I would be reluctant to give up Khalil Ware, and we have draft picks. We got draft picks to give up. Give up Andrew Wiggins. Give up some draft picks. Throw in like one of our other young dudes, Jovic, Jaquez. If we could keep Khalil Ware, let's keep Khalil Ware. But Khalil Ware is a piece that can be movable. You know why? Because he's a young guy with a lot of potential. He's a 7-footer, can block shots. He's athletic. He can also shoot the three. People don't know Khalil Ware can shoot the three at a really consistent level, right? So these are assets that we could potentially give up. Partnering him with Bam, Tyler Hero, KD, and potentially Donovan Mitchell as our lead guard. And then if we get Drew Holiday, I sound delusional. I know. I sound delusional. I sound like a delusional Heat fan.
Wait, he gonna be a free agent, Drew Holiday?
Drew Holiday might be on the trading block too. So out of Celtics, because the Celtics are about to be above the second apron, so they're about to head into that.
Yeah, they want to blow it up.
So they want to blow it up. They're gonna either trade I think they either trade Drew Holiday or they trade Porzingis this summer. So,
but to Miami, I don't think they're doing that.
Bro, Miami got him. Oh, I know. Pat Riley, the pressure is on you. Miami has to make a move. Let's do this. Make it happen.
Nah, if
2 summers ago, y'all say Damian Lillard. I was looking all over Instagram. Damian Lillard said he wants to come to Miami. I was watching all over Instagram, Photoshop jerseys on Damian Lillard. You gotta make it happen. Make it happen this year, Pat Riley. Come on.
But do you think Kevin Durant will re-sign in Miami? Because I don't think Pat will offer the contract. I think he gonna feel disrespected. Like, This what y'all offering? Nah, I'm out.
Let's be real. Jimmy Butler, KD.
Nah, you right.
Jimmy
But
Butler,
But no.
KD.
I'm
And
gonna cut you off
we
here.
made it to the finals with Jimmy Butler, right? We made it to the finals
cut you off right there.
twice. Imagine what we could do with KD.
Cool. Don't you do that. In your heart of hearts, do you think you would have made it to the finals if that was Kevin Durant and not Jimmy Butler? In your heart of heart, do you
We would have won.
that
We would have won.
you believe
Mike, they're not going to the
We
finals.
could have
Mike?
won the finals if we had
because-
against Denver. Let me. All right, now I'm getting delusional. Let me stop. All right. I sound like Knicks fans. All right. If we had KD, right, in 2020, I believe you trade Jimmy for KD. I believe we win that. We beat LeBron.
No.
Nah, I don't think so.
Because there's
Against Denver, I don't say because Denver was
something-
deep.
It's something about intangibles, and I think Jimmy did less with more than what Kevin Durant would have ever did with less with more.
Yeah, KD
And I
showed
don't
it.
even- I don't even
Phoenix
think-
ain't go nowhere.
That wasn't KD's fault though.
No, it's not. But unfortunately,
That wasn't KD's fault.
it's on your resume, my brother. That's on your resume.
Well, yeah. On
He's
top
the
of that,
one-
I think
he's the one who wanted. Hear me out. He's the one who wanted Steve Nash as the head coach. If that was Kenny Atkinson,
Yeah.
right? I think Brooklyn would have had a better shot.
Nah,
right?
Kenny
I think
Atkinson
Brooklyn
said, "Get
would've
me
did
out of
better
here."
If that was
he
Kenny
didn't wanna
Atkinson-
go with that.
because he saw it right into the wall with an immature, Kyrie Irving and a Kevin Durant. So he got himself out of there, right? I think I love Kevin Durant. I think Kevin Durant is the ultimate hooper, but I do not think he had the same intangibles that Jimmy had to bring that team to the finals. Jimmy just had that aura. Really did. And
Love Jimmy.
I honestly think if Steph didn't get hurt, I think the Warriors would have made it to the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah,
I
because
think they would have had a good shot.
I love Jimmy, right?
They would have got to the and you
Love
picked the Warriors in the beginning of the pod to make it to the Western Conference Finals. And with Jimmy on that team, and you watch Jimmy.
That don't
was
matter.
taking
We
them
want
bad
KD.
boys with-
Give me KD.
I want KD.
But now you want
a
KD.
career
Now
30-point
you want
scorer.
KD.
Jimmy, some nights you didn't know what you was gonna get. Like you didn't even know if he was gonna play some nights. You didn't even know if he was gonna be in the lineup some nights. You didn't even know if he was gonna show up to the arena some nights, right? KD,
but hear me out.
he's gonna show up to the arena. You know he's gonna give you 30 points, hand down. You're gonna walk into the arena, he's automatically gonna have 30 points.
That's not fair. We're literally watching a Pacers team with Tyrese Haliburton, and some days he don't even show up and drop and take 0 shots and make 4 points, lead his team to the finals because of his intangibilities, instead of being like a firm 30-point scorer like Shai Gilgeous. If Shai was on the Pacers right now, the Pacers would not be where they are. If Shai was on the Pacers, because he's a confirmed always 27 and up scorer, the Pacers would not be in the NBA Finals.
Nah,
What
I
I'm
disagree.
looking at,
And you know that.
Coach. Nah, they coach.
what I'm looking at, what am I looking at? I'm looking at those teams that made it to the finals on the Heat, right? You take Jimmy off those teams, you put Kevin Durant. What were the Heat's biggest weaknesses this year? Scoring. What was the Heat's biggest weakness against Denver? Scoring. Jimmy Butler, the reason
Who's
why...
the better defender? Who's the better defender, Jimmy or Kevin Durant?
Jimmy is known for being more of a defender, but Kevin Durant can defend. Like, we're not going to sit here and say Kevin Durant can't defend. He's a seven footer who moves like a guard.
Not like Jimmy, though.
You're right. You're right.
I was saying that. I'm not going to say, but yes, your scoring would go up, but then your defense will go down. That was the Knicks' problem. Our scoring went up with Karl Anthony Towns, but our defense dropped dramatically.
I don't think Kevin
That's
Durant's
the same thing what you would have with Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant's not a liable defender, though.
Nah, it's not that
He
he
can play
liable.
defense.
It's not that he liable, but I seen it in Brooklyn. But there's just certain things, like just a moment where like you need a bucket or you need to stop. Durant gonna get that bucket, but getting a stop, he not getting.
What have people questioned for Kevin Durant for so long, right?
His leadership, yeah,
right. And him stepping up in those moments to be a leader in those big moments to say, like, yo, when my team doesn't look great, I'm still going to step up as a leader and show up and perform. He always does, right? He always does. He doesn't have to worry about that in Miami.
When his team needs him.
He doesn't have to worry about that in Miami. he doesn't have to worry about being the leader. He doesn't have to worry about motivating the rest of the team. He just got to worry about going out and balling because we have the culture. We have the system. We have everything that Kevin Durant needs. Wherever he goes, he needs to be on a team that have a system in place. He got to stop going to these weak, I'm sorry, no disrespect, Gene, these weak franchises like the Suns. The Suns have always been bad. My whole childhood, the Suns have been bad. The Nets, they were always a decent team. Not always bad, but they weren't really. They
were developing. They were developing. We ain't going nowhere, but it's okay.
They blew it up.
He goes to a team like the Heat that already has the established culture, the championship pedigree.
But they're gonna lose in the first round, so don't get KD. They ain't gonna go nowhere.
Cool.
We just go in history.
Think that? You think he was a leader in Phoenix?
He's the piece.
Do you think Kevin Durant was a leader in Phoenix?
Nah, I think it was.
And not Devin Booker. I would make an argument that Devin Booker.
That's the thing. I
would make an argument Devin Booker was.
I don't think Phoenix had any leadership, and that's why I think that was their downfall. Like I felt like they didn't have anyone in the locker room. I feel like Mike Budenholzer couldn't be the leader because every time he was doing something, KD and Booker wasn't necessarily agreeing with it.
You know what your problem is? You holding on to the Heat culture too long. You're holding on to this Heat culture mindset. You've been holding on.
I'm a Heat fan.
Jimmy Butler criticized the whole notion about Heat culture. You have watched the Heat try to do this every single time. Gabe Vincent, whatever, Max Strus, whatever. Yeah, no, we bring whoever in. The Heat culture is going to change them. We bring them into the Heat. The Heat culture is going to change them. And they destroyed their their Eastern Conference championship team because they had this mindset that we can bring anybody here. And Spoelstra and Pat Riley is going to automatically fix them. We can get these second round, late round draft picks or undrafted picks that no one knows about, and we could develop them into superstars because it's a Heat culture. That's the problem. Y'all holding on to this damn Heat culture mindset too long.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I agree with you. I agree to a degree. I agree. I think we do kind of, in certain moments, as a Heat fan, I do think we do kind of lean on that Heat culture a little too much. Like I do think Pat Riley does kind of get a little cocky a little bit, you know. And like every summer, you see it. He doesn't make any moves because he just leans on Eric Spoelstra and Heat culture. That's why the last few summers where I'm seeing all these other teams in the East, like the Knicks, like Philly, like Boston, make moves to get better, and Miami has done nothing. Like it's because Pat Riley has been so selfish and a little bit cocky. I think this year he kind of recognizes like, yo, we need to make moves if we want to seriously compete. And right now the East is wide open, right? The East is wide open. Anyone can win, right? I think Indiana could be back there next year. I'm still kind of a little iffy on Bane. I mean, on Bane to Orlando. I'm still a little iffy on Orlando, but I think the East is wide open. So why not? You know, he's on a 1 year. Why not take him for a 1 year to see while the Boston Celtics are down to see if we got something in KD and can make that run? Because I feel like Milwaukee's also going to be bad. You know what I'm saying? So the East is wide open. Why not make the move at this time, right?
So I'll say this. All right. I know you've been talking about Kevin Durant for a while, but my last thing. All right. Would you put Miami Heat with Kevin Durant on the team ahead of the Detroit Pistons?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm telling you, because we have the culture. We have all we need is scoring. You don't know how many games that I watched this year where the Heat have been able to build a big lead in the first half, and then they crash in the fourth quarter because we don't have a go-to guy to get a bucket.
He's going to be 38.
And you know what? He's still putting up 30 points per game. He's still putting up 30 points per game. And I also saw another stat that was like on Phoenix this year.
M's.
For the year for the games that he played, Phoenix was actually over 500. Phoenix actually played really bad in the games that he wasn't playing this year. That's what people forget.
Brooklyn a couple of years ago. It was another Brooklyn.
When KD plays, his teams win. When he doesn't play, his teams lose, and that goes to show.
But he's going to be 38, so he's going to miss more games than he plays.
Yeah. Should the Heat do the trade? No. But would they do the trade? No, because they don't want to commit the money. I don't see them committing the money. Because if you didn't want to pay,
they don't want to trade the pieces.
Yeah.
My thing is, what do we do instead? We need somebody.
Well,
We need somebody.
Pat, you getting the big bucks. You better figure it out. How the Pacers figured it out. OKC figured it out. You better go in the draft. You better find somebody.
All right. Before I went on my rant about Miami, I also had Minnesota. I agree with you. I agree with you, Minnesota, because I think wherever he goes, he needs to be on a team that he needs to just kind of be an extra on a team that has already been in the playoffs, like kind of like an addition. And Minnesota has proven they knocked on the door the last 2 years, make it to the Western Conference Finals. They need that one piece to make it over the top. So why not? Anthony Edwards looks up to him. And they seem to have a really close relationship. So why not? But Pat Riley, make it happen.
I would be shocked if Miami trade for him. I would be shocked.
We're gonna move on. All right. It's getting a little late, so I'm gonna probably skip over some of these topics that we have. But let's talk about the NBA draft real quick. All right, just real quick. Let's start with the sleepers. Y'all have any sleepers in the draft? Anyone y'all looking at? I don't know what pick the Knicks have. Mike, do you know?
Well, Knicks don't have a pick in the first round. We have a pick in the second round. We're going to be deep in the second. But Ace Bailey's going to Brooklyn. If you want a sleeper, Ace Bailey will be a Brooklyn net because he's not going to go to Philly. Because Philly, what could happen potentially is because Ace Bailey, he already said it. He said he wants to go to a place where he feel like he could become a superstar. Ain't no Brooklyn's going to want a superstar. So I could see Philly drafting Ace Bailey.
He ain't gonna be a superstar in Brooklyn.
he said he wants to go to either Brooklyn, the Wizards, or maybe like Utah. He don't want to. He don't want to go with LaMelo, and then he doesn't want to go. He doesn't want to go to Philly. But Ace Bailey, people keep predicting he's probably gonna be the second best player in the draft. And I see Ace Bailey going to Brooklyn and just chucking up a lot of shots. But he will be a Brooklyn net. Who
gonna shoot it?
I'm not gonna lie. I like Ace Bailey, man. I've been seeing a lot of like film on him. Like around this time, like during the season, I don't really know too much about draft prospects, but around this time, I tend to look a lot in the draft prospects. I follow Draft Express on Instagram. I like what I see from Ace Bailey though. He got some tools, man. He's young, he's 18, but I think he's gonna be by the age of 25. He has the potential to be a really good player. I think he's gonna be possibly like looking at his highlights. He looks like a mini Giannis, bro. He's lengthy. He has length. I really like Ace Bailey a lot, man. I think obviously Cooper flagship. He got a game. Really like Ace Bailey a lot. He's just really raw right now. That's the only thing with Ace, but he's just really raw right now.
Yep.
I think that he got like the 21st pick. I like Walter Clayton Jr. If he can fall to us, I like him. He could score off the bench, potentially be a backup point or two. I like the kid. There's this kid. I don't know if y'all. I've been looking a lot at potential draft picks. I like this kid named Cedric Coward from Washington State. He's a guard forward. I think he's gonna be really good. A mid-major. We seeing like players like Jalen Williams like really emerge from that mid-major. So I think he could be really good. And Derek Queen, the baby Jokic, I think he's another player that I've been looking at.
For me, like my thoughts on the draft, I don't care for it. I don't pay attention to it. But it's because realistically, like it's just on the place where you get drafted to, are you gonna actually have an opportunity? Is the coach gonna believe in you? Because these GMs are making these picks and they turn out to be like, do they fit with your team? Do you have a system on your team? So bringing it back to KD coming to Miami, like, all right, so he come. So like, what's going to be the system now? Like, what do we do? So what are we looking for? Now, just with them, but we're seeing Dallas get the number 1 pick. Oh my goodness, this thing is rigged. There's no way. There's no way. So, but the thing is, they traded Luka. There was like a handshake agreement, like, yo, Luka, you going to LA? So Dallas, we need that number 1 pick. We got to get somebody. You got to do it. Come on, don't do that. But I also saw something that's like a new owner that came with owning the team. So don't be surprised if the Lakers get the number 1 pick in these next 2 years or something.
Yeah. What do you think, Mike? You think it was rigged? I know you had a lot of thoughts on Dallas this year, bro. I know you, and they up there with Indiana as teams that you hate. Let me see. I
don't really hate Dallas. I like Dallas. I like Dallas a lot because I'm a huge Dirk Nowitzki's probably like my top 5 favorite players of all time. I'm a huge Dirk fan, but it's my thing is for Cooper Flag's sake. Like, I honestly don't think Dallas is the best spot for him to be a star. Because
that was my question.
He's gonna come in with
Dallas and Philly keep their pick, and Philly because they're
both.
Two
I think
teams.
Philly should. Philly should 100% keep their pick because Joel Embiid got maybe 3 more years left in basketball. In my personal
3
opinion.
years, he got like 1.5.
Yeah. Yeah, I might be giving him a little bit more credit,
Nice,
but
nice.
it's bad. But for Cooper Flag's sake, I mean, I think Dallas should keep the draft pick because you'll control him for the next 7 years practically. But I don't think Dallas is the right team for Cooper Flag. I really don't. I don't think he's gonna have so many expectations of coming into that team and having to be a star. And Dallas is literally championship or bust, which is nothing wrong with having that expectations, but for a young player, like, I think people are gonna be very hypercritical of him early if he doesn't do certain things, and I just don't think that's the right place for him.
Yeah, I think it's always tough. I think it's always tough having a young player, especially like a player of Cooper Flag's caliber, to come in and be expected to win right away. Like, you got to give certain players like room to grow and room to really develop. And I don't know how much he's going to be able to really develop on a team like Dallas. That's the only thing I'm worried about. Just having those added expectations to him his first year. Because most teams are going, most of the times you're a top draft pick, you go into a bad team. This is like the rare occurrence where they're potentially going to a good team like in Philly and in Dallas. And even the Spurs might be even a good team with the second pick.
Yeah.
Dallas, I think Dallas should keep it. I think they draft. I mean, y'all just giving the fans something to hold on to from this past year because they're still kind of traumatized from the Luka Doncic trade. So it's giving them a future asset, a future player that they can look forward to, that Dallas can continue to build around even years to come after AD leaves, after Kyrie leaves. As for Philly, I think Philly have to draft. Like, I'm tired of Philly. I don't want them making no trades to get a veteran player, just to have another player to keep you over the luxury tax. And I think you need to draft a player and really develop. You got some young pieces in there that's really good, and then it'll allow you to be flexible down the road. Say you do want to get rid of Paul George and Embiid. I think you keep both Paul George. You keep everything. You made the decisions that you made. You got to live with it, and you got to see how it plays out. Even though y'all bet first year went really bad, y'all have the chance to really, correct your wrongs and improve. So I think Philly should definitely draft. I think Dallas should draft. Philly should definitely draft.
I just think Philly's unlucky. You just got 2 injury-prone players, so they're not gonna go nowhere. It's just unfortunate.
No,
and you can't trade them.
Yeah.
You can't trade them because nobody's gonna want them.
Nah.
Just to tie it back into Dallas, my question is like, if you draft Cooper Flag, he's the number 1 pick. He comes off the bench because what position is he playing? Unless you want to play him as small forward, and I think that's extremely big small forward. And AD's not wanting to play the 5, and you still got Derek Lively and Gafford. So where does Cooper Flag fit? Is Cooper Flag just going to be a 6th man for this season? It's kind of unheard of hearing the number 1 pick be the 6th man.
I was just about to say that. I think he's gonna start. I think he'll start at 3.
He'll start at the 3.
I don't think he'll come off the bench because it's the number 1 pick in Atlanta. Did he come off the bench?
Yeah, nah. He played. Yeah,
he started. Nah, he gonna start. He gonna start at the 3. He ain't coming off the bench. If he come off the bench,
because they were saying Cooper Flag was balling last year during the Olympics with Team USA, and he was actually putting up, holding his own. So I think, why not? That's why you draft your first pick, right? So he should start.
It's just like that's a big lineup. Cooper Flag is like a 4, so you gonna have him at the 3?
That could work for your. AD doesn't want to play the 5 too, right? Who you gonna have? I think they should definitely. I think they should definitely trade one of those bigs, though. I think you got to trade either Gafford or Lively. I'm leaning more to Gafford because I think Lively has more upside. But I think you gotta trade one and see what you can get. Maybe get a 2. You're gonna have Kyrie at the 1, Who's their 2? Kyrie at the 1. They're probably gonna have Quentin Grimes at the 2. Wait, is Quentin Grimes? No, he's on Philly now. He's not even in Dallas.
No, they
anymore.
traded. He's on Philly.
Oh yeah,
It would be like Najee Marshall or something like that.
at the 2.
Oh no, Klay
Flag
Thompson.
at
We're
the 3.
tripping. It's Klay.
Oh,
Oh,
Klay
Klay
Thompson.
Thompson.
That's right. That's right.
It's Kyrie,
Klay Thompson.
I guess
Cooper Flag, AD
Anthony
at the 4,
Davis. and
then Lively at the 5. Like that. That's a nice
See, but-
lineup right there.
No, but Cooper Flag don't shoot like that, so he don't stretch the court.
He don't got to. I need
You
you
got
to
Kyrie. You have Klay.
Yeah.
You have one of the greatest shooters in history to handle that.
AD.
But that clogs the middle. The middle's gonna be clogged with Gafford,
Nah,
AD,
it's gonna be open. It's gonna be open.
And then what? You think so?
Yeah, it's gonna be open.
Because AD,
I think
want
Dallas's closing lineup is gonna have AD at the 5 though. Their closing lineup. I think their starting lineup has Lively at the 5. I think their closing lineup should also have AD at the 5. I think. But
Well, that's their official. That is Jason Kidd's job to figure that out. Because I don't know how that works.
all right, y'all. So we're gonna move on. I know it's getting a little late. We've been recording for a minute. All right. So I want to do a just real quickly, probably two more topics. Let's go into real quick. It's another segment that I like to call Beef. What's beef? It's where we look at just beefs that's going on in the sports world. I have more beefs written down on the agenda, but today I just want to focus on Michael Beasley versus Melo. I don't know if you guys been noticing. There's like this new big thing on YouTube with like one-on-one matches.
So Beasley and
playing against Born Ready, Lance Stevenson. Michael Beasley won that competition. They're also in the Big 3. We've seen a big fight happened last week. I don't know if y'all seen that. So it's a lot going on right now.
I'm about to get
like the YouTube.
I gotta go to the game.
Yeah, bro, we gotta check it out, bro. But there's a lot going on. So recently, Michael Beasley had beat Lance Stevenson in a one-on-one match that was on YouTube. And then he recently, I seen something like a clip where he challenges Melo and said he'll smoke Melo in one-on-one. Melo responded on his podcast saying he don't want to do it. He don't really got the smoke. He don't really want the smoke, but he's known as one of the best one-on-ones defenders. I just want to know, like, what side would y'all be on? Who you think will win? And another side question: out of all the retired players, right, the whole pool of retired players, if there was a one-on-one tournament, who y'all think will win?
Current retired or like all-time retired?
All time.
Like
current. Let's talk about current
time?
players. Where we stand now? Current players.
Within like the last 7 to 10 years, within that range.
Like which players you think will win a one-on-one tournament? I'm gonna throw Joe Johnson in there.
I was gonna say ISO Joe.
Yeah, ISO Joe, bro. Melo. I think Melo and ISO Joe, they're probably like the two top players that I can think of right now.
Now Beasley too, because a lot of the players give Beasley his credit. They're like he be going to work.
Not it.
Mm-hmm.
So Beasley would be up there. But what makes it hard is like what are the rules and how much dribbles do they get? Are they like playing freely one-on-one? Because they all have the different sets of rules of what they do.
Yeah.
But I think but yeah, I would say ISO Joe. You don't get those names if you're not putting in work in ISO. Because sometimes we want to with somebody with a mess by, but nah. But man, NBA, if you want to spice one-on-one tournaments.
Yup. Who y'all
think Jamal Crawford?
Jamal Crawford.
Yeah. Lou Williams.
Yup.
Now Brandon Jennings been talking a lot, but he a little small, so but he might get busy too. But now they get one-on-one tournament, current and retired players. Come on, bring it back All-Star Week. You talking about generating money? Look at that.
Let's do it, bro. Make it happen, Adam Silver.
Retired players can definitely get buckets on some current players right now.
For sure. I feel like you never lose your ability. You just lose like the physical attributes, but you never really lose your ability to hoop and like be able to score, especially one-on-one.
If I'm not running up and down the court, it's just not even a half court setting. It's literally just from the 3-point line to the hoop. Yeah, these retired players can easily get buckets on these current players.
D Wade, I feel like can get buckets still. I'm gonna go Melo, ISO Joe, and D Wade as my top three. Out of respect for Wade, I gotta put him in there. My top three who would win a 1-on-1.
Only thing I would say about Wade, I think he would miss a couple jump shots, and I don't think those guys will miss. Like they probably might miss, but they will shoot his eyes out.
I feel that. All right, real quick. This is the last. Yep, the last big conversation before. Well, we got two more.
All right.
Recently, LeBron has come out and saying like he think ring culture is a little overused. He feel like you can't really use it for players because you lose, I guess, nuance and other things. And he said he brought up other players like Peyton Manning, like being in the same room as Tom Brady because he said one in the video, but Peyton Manning actually has two. And he just mentioned like other players like Barkley and AI. What are y'all thoughts on ring culture? Do y'all agree with LeBron? Do y'all think it should be considered? I think to a degree, I think ring culture should be considered because I feel like that goes to show really your impact on the game and like how impactful you are on the team is your ability. But I do think the conversation kind of ignores like the nuance and like what's actually going on, right? So for example, right, for so long we were talking about LeBron when he was coming up, and the rings were something that was always held against him when he left Cleveland, right? I forgot where my point was going. My bad, y'all.
It's just more like I know where you're going with it. It's like the typical Jordan LeBron debate. It's always who's the better player? Is it Jordan or is it LeBron? And everybody always brings up in terms of Jordan. Jordan has 6 rings. LeBron has 4 rings, but LeBron stat-wise, historically stat-wise, is better than Jordan. He has more assists, more rebounds, more points. Mm-hmm. But everybody always holds Jordan's a higher standard because I know he was going.
That's where I was going, right? LeBron doesn't have as many rings as Jordan, but it ignores the fact that, all right, when LeBron was kind of growing up, right, in the NBA, LeBron carried. I think a lot of people hold LeBron's finals record against him, right? I think the only thing that you could hold against LeBron in that whole argument is probably the series against Dallas, and the series against San Antonio, those Heat series. I think that's the only thing you can hold against LeBron, right? Cleveland, he carried that Cleveland team to the NBA Finals. He carried Drew Gooden, Boo Boo Gibson.
Yeah, Boobie Gibson.
He carried
Larry Hughes.
Larry Hughes. He carried them to the finals, right? People ignore that he was the I feel like in all the finals appearances, LeBron has been expected to win. He won. But most of the finals appearances, it doesn't take into account that he was actually the underdog in a lot of those finals, those Golden State finals. He wasn't expected to win once they got KD. And once they didn't have KD, they won in 2016 when everyone was expected. So I think he's right. It does ignore like the narratives and storylines that's going on when we just put labels on players of not being a ring, not having a ring and not doing this, right? So what are y'all thoughts?
For me, like it's one of those never-ending debate, and I think it comes down to who you like personally as a player. Like, what is your personal preference? Because what we tend to do is we make excuses for some players in terms of like why they have this, and then use that as a detriment for another person. Like LeBron and Jordan, you'd be like, oh, Jordan has 6 rings, LeBron have 4. But then I could be like, oh, Bill Russell have 11, so why is Bill Russell not the greatest player? Well, they only had 18s back then. so it just like, but LeBron, come on, just I want you to be specific, my brother. I know you don't want to give him the credit. Man, give the man his name. It's Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless was the one that made a career of pushing that narrative. And then and then I was also watching First Take where Stephen A start to like, he like to act oblivious, like he don't know what's going on. But like it's all about they the ones that really pushed the whole that made like LeBron wanted to leave Cleveland in the first place. But Gilbert Arenas had made a great point on his pod. Like if you tell me everything is about the ring, and then I go and I try to get the rings and then I don't win, and then to like kind of knock me down, you kind of tell me, well, Jordan has 7 scoring titles, however much scoring titles he have. Well, scoring titles individual. So if I try to pursue getting the scoring titles, my team is might not be as good because I'm trying to get mine. but then you're gonna hold rings against me because my team is not as good. No, if your team is not as good, that's the GM fault. That's what you're getting paid for. But then on the GM side of who you drafting, if I draft somebody and it's not really leading to wins, I'm out of a job. So everybody's for self. So at the end of the day, he is right. Rings is it's a team accomplishment, but there are some players that they are a big factor for their team winning. Like with the two teams that we have right now, I can't say personally that SGA on OKC or Haliburton in Indiana are like the sole reasons for their team for them winning a ring. Their teams are good. So man, the ring culture, it is what it is. But LeBron, you've been a part of it too, because you kind of took it to another level when you went to Miami. Not everybody's jumping ship, but at the end of the day, that's the media. They push those narratives. So it's a double-edged sword. So it's one of those where you just argue till you blue in the face, and then it comes down to personal preference, who you like. Whoever you like, you're gonna make excuses for them. It's like beating a dead horse. But LeBron has a point, but LeBron was also a part of the problem too.
He contributed to it.
He contributed, but like don't speak in half truths. But that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna speak in half truths. Come on, say is you played a part, and Skip Bayless and Stephen A. the big culprits.
Yup. I think they were the main reason why this whole narrative got pushed in the first place. When they were the main ones. They were the first ones, right? And that's part of the reason why he left to go to Miami, because of all that pressure that he was getting, and he knew that he couldn't win in Cleveland yet, right? Like, what do you thought? Oh, go ahead. My
last point, and I'll pass it to you, Mike. Because even the last thing, in terms of like when Miami was up 2-1 against Dallas, there was a report where LeBron he wrote a message to everybody he's gonna talk about during the post-game speech, and he had Skip Bayless at the top. I don't know if y'all remember that. There was a report that came out, but they eventually lost to Dallas. So that played a part. So LeBron, you played a part, and Skip Bayless and Stephen A. They the ones that pushed. Right?
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I think the ring debate, I think it's only important to the people who wants to be considered the all-time greatest, or like the greatest of all time. And I know, like, a part of LeBron, he wants to be considered the greatest of all time. He never flat out tries to say he wants to be considered the greatest player of all time, because he doesn't want that debate about him and Jordan. But I think people mention rings and just how you perform in the finals, etc., for just, I guess, to separate the greatest of the greatest. So I don't ever hear anybody bring like Magic into the debate against Jordan, because everybody can see that Jordan's better than Magic. Now, when it becomes Jordan and LeBron, since they're so, and I guess you can even throw Kobe now, but people can make the argument Kobe is the definitive third of the three.
My fault.
Because
Kobe I was going to say Kobe only getting his love because he passed away. They wasn't talking about him when he was alive. So you see,
I agree.
That's
Kobe
fair.
Was never considered in the GOAT conversation ever.
I agree. Also,
Kobe, rest his soul.
Rest in peace.
Ever since he passed away, that's when he really started coming in the conversation. And I want
to say he's better than LeBron or Mike.
I want to tip my hat to Kareem too, man. Kareem got 6 rings too. People forget that, but that's why I don't understand. Like, the standards change for different people, because Kareem also got 6 rings, but no one talks about him in that.
One on every level: high school, college, NBA.
Greatest college player ever. He won in Milwaukee. He won in LA. So.
But that's
the reason why Kareem don't get the.
Go ahead.
I was going to say the reason why Kareem doesn't get the love he deserves is because Kareem was also part of a different era, and he was also a civil rights activist. And I feel like at that current time of like the narrative,
Mike, now we talking, Mike.
Players, they diminished Kareem's accomplishments a lot. Like, they was not talking about Kareem the way they should have always talked about Kareem. They make Kareem sound like he was a prima donna and he was this and he was that. So like, that's why they never made Kareem the face of the Lakers, even though when Magic showed up, they made Magic the face, because Magic was the smiling, the brass, the personality. But Kareem everybody knew Kareem was the best player. But because Kareem, Abdul-Jabbar, they don't like that name. He was a civil rights activist, so they diminished him. They 100% diminished Kareem.
That's a really good point. Because you realize in a lot of these leagues, they don't want players to go against their bottom line, right? Which is speaking out, You know, ultimately these leagues, NBA is a little bit better, but these leagues don't really want their players speaking out. That's why they're not really. That's why you're even seeing like Jaylen Brown not really getting as much love and publicity as a player, because it's been talked about how like he kind of rubs people the wrong way because he's extremely smart, and like that just is a bigger sign for society in general for like people of color. But you know,
100%.
That's a good point. It's a really good
point. When it comes to like the ring culture, what I was highlighting is that we talk about rings to kind of just like put the greatest into certain rooms. So for example, like Tom Brady, and I'll use Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers is a better example. Aaron Rodgers had one Super Bowl and won his only one Super Bowl. He has one, but Aaron Rodgers has 4 MVPs. Tom Brady is the only one MVP, like the best player of the whole league twice. There was not many times where people consider Tom Brady the best quarterback in the league. He was not always the best quarterback in the league, but Tom Brady won when it won most. So because he won when it counted most, people consider Tom Brady the greatest. Even though Aaron Rodgers, everybody says was a better talent, better thrower, better this, better that. But Aaron Rodgers always lost. He didn't always lose, but he lost a good amount when like the games was on the line. So I guess people use like sometimes the rings to differentiate, the player overall body of work. I guess
I get that.
Of work.
I also think football is like the sport that you can kind of like,
it's a complete team sport.
Onus on the players, because the quarterback is such an important like position, right? Basketball is 4 other players on the court with you, right? And they also got to play their role and do what they got to do in order to win. Like it takes a lot more. You got to have coaching. You got to have JR not making that critical mistake against Golden State in Game 1. You got to have
it's the same football.
Not choking at the free throw line again in that Golden State series in Game 1. You know, so it's just a lot of things you got to consider. Football, it's on you, right? It's on the quarterback. It's on your line. Tennis is
that's
one
not
of
true.
Sports,
I'm saying it's a team sport. So football, like if I'm the best quarterback and I throw Coop the ball and you fumble the ball, they ain't on me. But because I'm the quarterback and I'm the face of the team, I will get criticized, and that's how it usually is. So if you're the face of the team, no matter if you're the best player on the team and the best during whatever era you are, you're going to always be criticized to the other best player on another team, no matter what you do. So, for example, I think DeMar DeRozan gets a lot of hate for when his time in Toronto, and then all of a sudden when Kawhi comes to Toronto, and then they have a magical run to win a championship, it makes it seem like it was just all Kawhi who got Toronto that championship, which is, in my opinion, is not the truth, because a lot of things had to run into Toronto's favor for them to win that championship. But DeMar DeRozan was there the whole time. DeMar DeRozan was dealing with all those challenges. It's not DeMar DeRozan's fault that LeBron decided to go to LA the next year when he gets traded, and then now Kawhi moves over there and they win a championship. That's not his fault. He kept running into LeBron.
But Mike, you made a great point in terms of like, what don't get talked about in terms of like a lot of some of these things. You just need luck, man. You just need luck in terms of like, because look, like, Boston last year on their way to run, all them players that got hurt, they won a championship. But now this team got hurt. Now they was building some momentum. Now, do I believe that the Knicks would have beat Boston with a healthy Tatum? I would say yeah, because they kept coming back, up when it was down by 20. Boston was really, living down by the 3. So it's like this. Sometimes, like you could play your best and then you just team a play. You just like, damn. And you can't make a devastating play where it hurts us. Like, as an example, I'm gonna bring it to football in terms of like where the Chiefs was playing the Patriots, where they stopped them on I think it was 3rd down. They intercepted the ball, and it's one of those ones where Pat Mahomes, where they went to the Super Bowl. But if they didn't intercept that ball, they wouldn't move on to the Super Bowl. But it's with we had Philly and KC that just played. Philly was putting touchdowns. They were not kicking field goals. If Philly was kicking field goals like we scored at the end, if the game was close, they would have did what they did the year before. But now we had this. They was dominating OKC. I don't remember which game it was, but they was missing their free throws, and then OKC came back and took the lead and they won. So sometimes it's just about, man. Yep. Yeah, it's like with the luck, man. You just can't have your player. You just can't, like, you can make your mistakes, but your mistakes can't cost us. Like, the momentum is big, man.
Yeah,
like if you making a play, and that's just the unfortunate part with, like, with KD, like, wherever he go, now he get buckets, but when it's that winning time, it's a different beast. Now we start making mistakes. We start fumbling, man. It don't get talked about a lot, the mental aspect. Like, thinking the game, and that's a problem with LeBron. Like, LeBron, he just so when it's time, now you suffocate the ball for like 3 quarters. So go get us a play, but he can't get us a play.
Yep.
So, but let me see if we back in the NBA with the rings. Let me see who it happened to. Oh, if in Brooklyn, I'm bringing Brooklyn. If KD would have had his foot with a little smaller, we was definitely beating Milwaukee. He was balling. But the game got tied. But then you go with coaching. It gets important. My man gassed in overtime. Steve Nash called timeout. He gassed. Man, this could be great. Yeah. But if my coach is incompetent,
that goes to show there's a lot from top to bottom. It's just a lot. And people think the win culture just makes it seem like it's so easy to just win a ring. It's so hard to win a ring. You got to have so many good things happen for you. Like Mike brought up a good point with Toronto. And like Kawhi.
Imagine
I also think at that time, Toronto understood their window. They knew we had Kawhi for 1 year, right? People forget Toronto before DeRozan left, I feel like they didn't really do too much to really get better every year. In that year, people forget that they got Kawhi. They made a mid-season trade to get Marc Gasol to add to their depth. Like, it's also little things like that can help you tip the things on your scale to like win a ring, right? So it's just like you gotta have a good GM, good ownership, a good team.
And Pascal Siakam took the next step. Like, he was a G League player. He took the next step. Fred VanVleet took another step. But like, again, it's just when we talk about the rings, we don't talk about the journey of how or certain ways that certain players or organizations have went through for other people to not get a ring. Like DeMar DeRozan faced LeBron twice in the Eastern Conference Finals, and they lost. It wasn't like, and they was the best team. They had Dwayne Casey at that time too. They was there. It's just they ran into a juggernaut team. The year LeBron left, Toronto got Kawhi, and then like you said, they got Marc Gasol. Siakam took another step. And then they just got hot. Everything started flowing the way they want. And then they hit the crazy 3 to beat Philly, because that could have been Philly's chance easily also. Like, history of the NBA will always talk in a crazy way, because say if Kawhi didn't make that shot and it went to overtime, I think Philly would have won that game. And then Philly probably would have beaten Milwaukee, in my opinion, and they probably would have been in the NBA Finals.
Imagine the refs called travel, because Kawhi traveled on that shot.
True.
Like, he took 3 steps.
My man took 3. Gotta go in favor to win, man. So many things.
So now, it's just like history. Like, some of these players, they never won a ring, and I get that. And like, we're so engulfed in ring culture. But you have to also look at, like, damn, some of the circumstances they faced. Like, again, Joel Embiid could have arguably been a one-time champion right now. If everything went the way, maybe Jimmy wouldn't have left Philly. Maybe Jimmy would have been there. Tobias would have been Jimmy. Maybe Ben Simmons. Maybe Ben Simmons would have took basketball more serious. You never know, because now he's a champion.
That year, I honestly thought. That year, I honestly thought Philly had the best chance to beat Golden State too. Like, if that didn't happen, I honestly would have probably chose Philly to beat Golden State if they had to face Golden State in the finals. So,
but that's real life though. Like, you never know when your opportunity is going to come, but when that opportunity is there, you got to take advantage. But like, bringing it back with the ring, like, we like to talk with LeBron and Jordan, but people forget. So when Jordan went to Washington, like, why didn't he win a ring? Every team LeBron played on, I mean, like the franchise he played for, they won a championship. Jordan played for Washington. They didn't win a championship, but you're going to tell me, oh, he was old. So now he was old. But LeBron about to be 41. Now, are they realistically competing for a championship? No, because I don't think that they have the pieces. And I don't think that LeBron and Doncic take the defensive side of the ball. Like, Minnesota outclassed them. They was like, oh, this is barbecue chicken. We see LeBron, we see Doncic, we going to work. And you're not gonna win without defense. Now Jordan's teams, they had a great GM. Imagine if he didn't have a great GM, or you'd be like, well, Jordan back then, he didn't jump from team to team. But we conveniently forget that they didn't have the free agency wasn't like how it is back then.
Jordan walked into like a good place in Chicago, right? He had Pippen, he had those dudes.
He had Pippen.
That's not true.
He didn't walk into it. He had to lose for a few years.
Yeah.
But when they started winning, they got Horace Grant.
Yeah.
They brought in Horace Grant, right? LeBron's first year, the team that he had. But Jordan got his team, like you said, they had good management and they had a good GM. I don't know how he was good at bringing in players, all the other stuff. If we seen last dance,
he scouted Scotty really well. Jordan did walk into a coke-infested Chicago Bulls team. these players were doing coke, and he was like, "What?" Before games.
But after a while, they made the move to they got Horace Grant. Horace Grant left, and then they brought in Rodman. You know what I'm saying?
I think players should stay with their franchise long enough. As much as I hate Indiana, I do like the fact that Indiana kept. I mean, they traded for Haliburton, but there's been Miles Turner has been there for years, and Miles Turner has been on the trade block for about 4 years now. Every year I look at Miles Turner's on the trade block, and he has not gotten traded. He stayed with them. So it's and you look at OKC. Sometimes it's better to build through just constantly growing and growing and growing than just trying to put something together real quick and win. The only time that ever worked was Cleveland.
There's a lot that goes into it where we try to simplify it. Like the GM, would the owner or whoever's making those decisions, would they have the opportunity to make those decisions? I'm gonna bring it back to football. The reason why Dallas is not doing it because Jerry Jones don't want to let go. Also, we don't take into account the human aspect. We could win, but we gotta win because of me. If all three of us on the team, right? But we could be talking about this pod. The pod is successful. Coop could be like, all right, the pod is successful because of me. All right, we chilling. Mike could be looking at the side nah, bruh. I gotta get some love too. It's all Mike could get
put that work in.
Yeah.
That's why, bro. That's why
it gotta be hoops and hangouts with Coop and Mike. Not
No, but it's a lot that goes into it. But I get what LeBron's saying, but it's if we really gonna have this conversation, let's have it all the way. But are we gonna have the time to explain? And it comes down to credit. It comes down to the opportunity. Are you taking advantage of your opportunities? Ego is big. That's one of the reasons why Phoenix is struggling.
That's why I'm always blown away how the Lakers won so many champions, bro. Because Kobe and Shaq hated each other, bro. I'm like, yo, how did they three-peat, bro? That goes to, yeah, man.
But one of those they almost hated.
They almost
the year when I ain't gonna front. They're beating them. The referees.
Hold on, Gene. I think you keep your voice keeps shutting off a little bit, but my fault. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna. There was also one of those years with Sacramento played in. That game was crazy. You can be rigged on your side too, unfortunately.
They should have won. They got robbed. They got robbed.
Y'all talking about the Lakers Sacramento series?
Yeah, back in the day when Sacramento was waxing them.
They was waxing them, and then and Portland was waxing them too. Also, there was
Portland
a couple.
Pippen, right?
Portland the year after. The year after was waxing them. What's the end of Scottie Pippen and Damon Jones and all them? No, not Damon Jones. It was Shadir Stoudemire, something like that.
Rasheed Wallace,
but they was waxing them too. Wallace, they was beating them.
So I know we got games up. I just hope that it don't got nothing to do with the refs, man.
Nah, the refs better not make it about them.
Oh man,
they love doing that.
I hope they don't mess up this.
If the Pacers are in foul trouble within the first 6 minutes, it's OKC's game.
Yeah, we gonna see how they referee it, bro. We gonna see if in the first minute of the game, Shea or Jalen Williams takes it to the rim and they fail like this, and the refs call it, OKC's winning. Game 1, OKC straight away. Game in the first quarter, OKC's winning. If they're calling it in OKC's favor, OKC's at home, right? Okay.
Let's see if they got that guy. What's that guy name? Oh, damn. What's his name? The one that CP hate.
Don't you say Scott Foster. Don't
Yeah,
you say Scott Foster.
Let's look at the line and see if he
It might
reffing
be
that
his
game. Now, if he reffing that game,
might
it's
be
gonna
his
be
game.
rigged.
It might
He
be.
might most
it might
likely
be his game.
he's most likely gonna be reffing. He's most likely gonna be reffing.
The NBA strikes again.
Yep. All right, but we gonna get we've been going for a minute. I appreciate the conversation. I appreciate just the good just conversation we've been having. We're gonna wrap it up soon. I want to introduce y'all to a new segment that I have that we're gonna do every episode, and we're gonna end every episode with this. It's gonna be called the Hoops and Hangouts Player of the Week. So with that being said, this is gonna be each of us are just gonna quickly just say a player that we think deserve a little bit more shine. You feel like people aren't really talking about, or just a player that we feel like just deserve its recognition. All right. So it's Hoops and Hangouts Player of the Week. My Hoops and Hangouts Player of the Week for this week is I got two of them. I'm going Obi Toppin and TJ McCollum. I think they are pretty much the biggest reason. I'm gonna throw a little bit of Benedict Mathurin in there because I feel like they are the main reason why this series is going 7. I think they've been extremely dominant and impactful in the series, and I think both benches, whichever team plays best, has won the game. And I feel like it has been just a little extra on Indiana just being as impactful. So I'm gonna just go with CJ McCollum. I said CJ McCollum. TJ McConnell.
No, you said TJ. Yeah.
TJ McConnell. I'm gonna go TJ McConnell mostly because I feel like he's just being a pest, getting steals, being consistent on the mid range, and just being probably more impactful in the series than Tyrese Haliburton's been. I think Obi Toppin, same thing, has been very energetic and energy bunny, and hitting the 3-point shot consistently. So I'm gonna give my love to those two players. How about y'all? What y'all thinking?
I would say for me, I'm gonna go from each team. So Indiana, I'm gonna say Pascal because that man, talk about getting a bucket. I saw the one he hit at the end of the first half. I said, "Woo!"
And one,
yeah.
He just blew up.
I said, "Oh my goodness, Pascal."
Tall.
He's been a big addition to them. Bringing that championship experience, and then on OKC, just this ball guy, man, Alex Caruso, that little Jackrabbit bunny, man, he's making it happen. So Caruso, so just them two caught my eye. I'm like, nah, they've been having a good week.
Yeah, bro. Mike, who you got?
Yep. Yeah, for me, I'm gonna say my he's not a player. Rick, the head coach of the Pacers. I think Carl has been he is 100% a Hall of Fame coach, probably arguably top 5 greatest coaches of all time, especially if Indiana pulls his upset, wins the championship. I'll put him in the top 5 greatest coaches of all time. So Rick Carlson is my coach. Yeah, he just consistently makes adjustments after adjustments and makes the team believe that they can accomplish more than they could, which they are. I don't think any other coach can get these out of their players, and he's been phenomenal. And then I would say I'll do also for OKC side too. OKC side is Jalen Williams. I feel like that game 5 performance was magical. It was incredible. He has one of the prettiest left-handed layups I've seen. It's a smooth left hand. And he can go left, he can go right. He just gotta be consistent. If he's just a little bit more consistent shooter, he's probably gonna be up there. He gives people compare him to Scotty. For me, I see a lot of Kawhi. I think he has a lot of Kawhi in his game. Just a little bit more personality. Maybe it's the braids. But no Kendrick or Mark on that. But I think those two are the best. They are my favorite weeks in it.
All right, bet. Appreciate y'all. So that's all we got. I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Please tell your friends, like, comment, subscribe, whatever. Add us on Instagram. Follow us on YouTube. Subscribe. We're really trying to build this. Everyone, thank you for showing. Any closing words, Jean and Mike? Any closing words?
Now, I was just say thanks for having me. Now, this was fun. We get to keep the conversation going, and this was great.
Facts.
Yep. And then me, I'm either I'm gonna be really happy on Sunday or really sad. So just stay tuned. I
feel that, bro. I'm glad we got a good finals. All right, everyone, have a blessed time. I don't know. Have a good weekend. And enjoy Game 7.
Everybody.
All right.
Yeah.
Peace.